some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political.
Sylvester Stallone appears to have the final word. The actor had long cautioned that Jimmy Kimmel's on-air persona, marked by mockery of public figures, was unsustainable. Now, those warnings seem prophetic. The storm erupted after Kimmel used his late-night monologue to comment on the recent passing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. What he may have intended as biting satire instead struck many as tone-deaf, given that family, friends, and supporters were still grieving. Criticism was immediate and came from across the political spectrum, with viewers accusing him of lacking empathy and respect. ABC responded swiftly, announcing that Jimmy Kimmel Live would be taken off the air indefinitely. The network offered no timeline for a return, an extraordinary move for a show that has been a late-night fixture for over 2 decades. The backlash grew even sharper when Nexstar Media Group, which runs a significant number of ABC affiliates nationwide, issued a strongly worded statement. The company condemned Kimmel's remarks as offensive and insensitive during a pivotal moment in political discourse. They stressed that his comments did not reflect the values or perspectives of the communities they serve. As a result, they concluded continuing to air his program was not in the public interest, and decided to pull it from schedules until, in their words, cooler heads prevail and respectful dialogue resumes. To understand why Sylvester Stallone took satisfaction in Jimmy Kimmel's downfall, it helps to revisit the roots of their feud. The friction began years earlier with what should have been a routine talk show appearance. Stallone, who rarely sits down for late-night interviews, had agreed to promote the family Stallone and Tulsa King on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Fans were eager to see the action icon open up about his career and personal life. But the appearance never happened. According to insiders, Kimmel himself pushed ABC to cancel the booking, citing political disagreements. Instead of separating show business from personal bias, he reportedly turned the decision into something more pointed. On air, Kimmel followed up with barbed jokes about Stallone's views, remarks that came across less like comedy and more like a personal jab. The reaction was swift. Viewers found the tone smug and unnecessary, and social media erupted almost instantly. Disrespecting Stallone? That's a career mistake, one user posted. Another wrote, Stallone earned his legacy through discipline and respect. Kimmel is dismantling his with petty shots. Hashtags like hashtag cancel Kimmel and hashtag respect Stallone spread rapidly as clips of the segment went viral. The backlash wasn't limited to Stallone's diehard fans. Casual viewers and media critics piled on as well. Opinion pieces described the moment as emblematic of everything wrong with modern late night, more focused on politics and personal vendettas than on genuine entertainment. One columnist labeled the spat a masterclass in how to alienate your audience, while another argued it exposed the fragility of a format that has lost touch with viewers' expectations. Kimmel's swipe at Stallone didn't just fall flat. It backfired in spectacular fashion. Almost overnight, Jimmy Kimmel Live saw its ratings nosedive. Not a gradual decline, but a steep drop that rattled ABC executives already nervous about competing with podcasts, YouTube personalities, and on-demand entertainment. Suddenly, the network's late-night staple looked fragile. In desperation, ABC quietly reached out to Stallone. The pitch was extraordinary. An open invitation to return to the show with no restrictions. He could say whatever he wanted, unfiltered, on live television. To sweeten the deal, executives floated the idea of future collaborations, hoping to repair the damage. One insider admitted bluntly, sidelining Stallone had only magnified Kimmel's problems. But Stallone wasn't interested. To him, the offer reeked of damage control, not respect. His camp made it clear that the outreach was about saving Kimmel, not honoring Stallone. Fans applauded the decision. Good on Sly, one wrote. They only came crawling back because the ratings tanked. Others called it too little, too late. Behind ABC's glossy facade, chaos simmered. Producers scrambled to fill the guest lineup, but invitations went unanswered. Some celebrities, wary of political backlash, reportedly avoided the show entirely. For a network accustomed to access and influence, the sudden cold shoulder was an unmistakable sign of desperation. Stallone, meanwhile, didn't need the platform. He's more than a Hollywood star, he's a cultural touchstone. From Rocky to Rambo, he built a legacy of resilience, grit, and triumph against the odds. His characters reflect the struggles of ordinary people, which is why Kimmel's mockery stung so deeply for fans. One tweet captured the mood. Stallone's movies taught me to get back up. What's Kimmel ever taught anyone, except how to insult people? Another post twisted the metaphor: Rocky hit the canvas but always rose again. Kimmel's down and no one's counting for him to get up. Social media had a field day. Side-by-side images of Stallone's legendary Rocky training montages were plastered next to unflattering stills of Kimmel slouched behind his desk. The message was clear. One man symbolized perseverance, grit, and inspiration. The other had become a punchline. A viral caption summed up the mood perfectly: Stallone inspires millions. Kimmel inspires channel changing. For fans, this wasn't about one tasteless joke, it was about a pattern. Stallone has built a reputation both on screen and off, for respecting the people who admire him. Whether it's shaking hands, telling stories, or embodying characters who reflect everyday struggles, he has always given audiences dignity. Kimmel, in contrast, came across as mean-spirited, using humor as a weapon rather than a bridge. Even casual viewers, those who weren't diehard Stallone fans, chimed in. "You don't mock a guy like Stallone," one comment read. "He's Hollywood royalty." The incident simply accelerated a decline that had already begun. Jimmy Kimmel Live was once a late-night staple, comfortably sitting alongside Fallon, Colbert, and others as part of the cultural conversation. But over the past several years, viewers had steadily drifted away. The problem wasn't just Kimmel's delivery, it was the tone of the show itself. Instead of lighthearted comedy, audiences often found themselves subjected to political rants that felt more exhausting than entertaining. People tuning in at 11:30 p.m. wanted to laugh, not be lectured. This is why the sudden announcement of Kimmel's firing didn't feel as sudden to many. To insiders and longtime viewers, it had been building for years. By contrast, Jimmy Fallon offered audiences silly games, celebrity sing-alongs, and playful sketches, a kind of escapism that late night once thrived on. Kimmel, meanwhile, leaned heavily into divisive monologues, behaving less like a comedian and more like a debate moderator nobody had asked for. The problem was glaring during the 2020 election cycle. While Fallon was staging musical parodies with pop stars, Kimmel was delivering extended political lectures that dragged on like a substitute teacher reading from a textbook. Fans weren't entertained, they were reaching for the remote. Ratings reflected that frustration. By 2023, Kimmel's show had slipped so far that even Greg Gutfeld's Fox late-night program, once considered a niche experiment, regularly outperformed him in key demographics. That it's a twist no one saw coming. Greg Gutfeld, the same guy who once went viral for cracking quirky jokes about cats on Reddit, is now dominating late-night ratings. For Jimmy Kimmel, once a king of the format, that's the equivalent of Rocky losing a boxing match to a YouTube influencer. But Kimmel's collapse wasn't just about one feud with Stallone. It reflected a larger truth. Traditional late-night television is running on fumes. What used to be a nightly ritual for millions has been steadily abandoned. Younger audiences aren't waiting until 11:30 p.m. to catch a monologue. They're scrolling TikTok, binging podcasts, and streaming YouTube creators who feel more authentic, personal, and on demand. If you're watching this online right now, that fact speaks for itself. Jimmy Kimmel Live has been left chasing an ever-shrinking demographic that remembers dial-up internet, while the rest of the world has already moved on. The Stallone controversy didn't create that problem, but it did accelerate the downfall. In many ways, it was the final nail in the coffin. Disney, the parent company of ABC, was already questioning Kimmel's future after the backlash. Insiders even whispered that his replacement was being lined up, someone safer, less polarizing, and less likely to riff on tragedies with such cold indifference. Meanwhile, Gutfeld now regularly outpaces traditional late-night shows. Yes, Greg Gutfeld, the former outsider once dismissed as niche, has beaten a Disney-backed juggernaut. The reason isn't complicated. He entertains without lecturing. He makes people laugh without scolding them for their beliefs. Stallone's own decisions underscore that shift. By showing up on platforms outside of legacy media, platforms where his words aren't filtered through the lens of Hollywood politics, he's sending a message. Keep your scripts. I'll go where people actually want to hear me. And he isn't alone. Actor Zachary Levi, star of Shazam, recently blasted Hollywood's obsession with politics, calling it a creativity killer. Veteran star James Woods has also distanced himself from legacy outlets, choosing instead to engage audiences directly. Together, these moves show a new reality. You don't need Hollywood's approval to stay relevant. The numbers make the case. Rogan, Gutfeld. Independent creators of every stripe are building massive audiences while late-night television shrinks into irrelevance. Kimmel's exit, once unthinkable, now feels symbolic. He represents a fading era of scripted, studio-approved late-night comedy. Stallone, in contrast, represents resilience and reinvention, the qualities audiences crave. This was never just about one late-night host. It's about a seismic shift in entertainment itself.